All right, guys, just give me 1 second. Just trying to, put this up on broadcast. Okay, that's great. That's brilliant. Okay, that's great. So let me share my full screen now so we can go ahead. So as you can see, there are a couple of documents that I've opened up. There's a bit of a clutter on the screen. The reason is I would want to discuss pretty much, all the documents that we need to fill in as templates to be able to, do the assignment, for this particular unit. Now, I'm going to start off by quickly taking you through what is available on Moodle first. And the reason I want to do that is because that would give you a bit of a perspective where to get all these things up on Moodle. So just to share the Moodle screen with you, as you know that we are obviously discussing the academic and research skills for the purposes of assignment discussion today. So what I want to do is log into Moodle. So if I go into Moodle and I go into healthcare, go into ATHE level 3 HSC, which says old, and click on that, I will go into my course. And when I go into my course, what you're going to see is we are going to navigate down to the academic and research skills unit. So when you go into the course, what will happen is, let me just fix this. So this particular unit, you're going to see in a yellow colored box. So I'll highlight this image, and this image is what you'll see in a yellow colored box. So this is the unit that we are going to discuss today, which is academic and research skills. Now, if I click on the headline, you would get into the unit. So this unit will then show you all the content that is available for the purposes of study, revision, and also to do your assignment. Now, we have always used what is called the unit specification brief to discuss the assignment, discuss the sessions that we've been going through. And this is what I normally refer to you and show you at the start of the session. So we've discussed learning outcome 1, learning outcome 2, 3, 4, and 5 we did together, and then 6 was done yesterday. So after the completion of the learning outcomes, what we want to now do is basically look at discussing the assignment, how to put together the evidence required to complete this unit. Now, one of the clear things that you would note on your end is that this unit is graded. That means you can achieve a pass, merit, or a distinction grade. And if you're looking at achieving a pass, then you're only doing the pass task. But if you're looking at merit, you're doing pass as well as all the merit tasks which are given, and you have to achieve them. And if you have to look at distinction, then you have to do everything which has been given in the grid, and these are then converted into what are called tasks on the assignment brief. So I will show you the assignment brief as well, how to access the assignment brief. So when you go back to the unit again, what I want to do is basically look at the assignment brief, which is given here towards the end of the discussion of the learning outcomes. So it says academic research skills for health and social care assignment. When I open this assignment, this is what we need to attempt to be able to complete and achieve this particular unit. So it has got 4 tasks, and these tasks are a combination of all the assessment criteria that we saw on the grid in the unit specification brief. So we'll come to this in a bit of a second. And then if I need to look at additional reading, need to revisit some of the lectures, then you have got lecture recordings here. So if I click on this recording will play, and it will basically tell you what was discussed in this particular lecture. Now, some of these recordings were obviously, they are old, and we basically deliver these sessions every month. So how do you access the recordings for this particular unit? You go to the YouTube channel, and in the YouTube channel, go to live. When you're in the live section, here you see a search bar on the top, and you write academic and research skills. So if you just type this and click enter, what it will do is bring out all the sessions that we have done in the last couple of days regarding, academic and research skills. So here we've got Ambrose peeping through into the laptop. I've changed this cover page or the cover image, but generally what you will see is anything that I've delivered in the last couple of days, would be available pretty much here. So starting with this one, which is the first, then the second, then third, fourth, and fifth. Yesterday was 6, so all of them are available in terms of sessions here. Now, the other bit that you can also do sometimes is if you have to look at the latest sessions, you can sort this out, at your end by saying that please sort out the list, which is the latest sessions on the top. Now, the sessions are named quite clearly so that you are able to find them. It says ATHE, which is the awarding body, level 3. Diploma D is for diploma in I, health and social care unit, academic and research skills for health and social care. And this is learning outcome 3. As you can see, it's only streamed 7 days back. This is learning outcome 4, not the correct one. This is the second one, learning outcome 1. This is learning outcome 4, as you can see, 6 days back. And then we go down and you will see, so 1, 2, 3 are here, and then the top ones are given here. So you should be able to find these sessions, not a problem. If you need a link of any of the sessions that you need to go to, and if you're not able to find, then you can send an email to Jill. She's the course coordinator, and she would be also able to send you the copy of the recordings. She normally does that after every session, and you should be able to get hold of these recordings from her, and they would mean that you have them available by just clicking on the link. And these recordings, typically, if I just open one email and show them to you, just to be sure that you should be on the mailing list and you should be receiving these. So if I just show you one as an example. So just quickly switching you over to the emails. So as you can see, Jill would normally send these across to you, as recording links, and you should be able to get hold of these recordings, pretty much from her. So for example, as you can see, these are recording links that she normally sends, and these are session links that you should be able to get, which are primarily for the recordings which have happened. And it clearly says, dear students, academic research skills, learning outcome 4. So if you click on this particular link, if I open this email and I show this to you, you would be basically going to the learning outcome 4 pretty much straight away onto the YouTube channel. You don't need to find anything on your end, and it'll straight away take you there. So as you can see, this is the bit it takes you on, because learning outcome 4 and 5 we discussed together, and this is the full session recording that you would have received on your email. Now, there are a lot of people which normally are on emails, and if you're not receiving any of these emails or have not got it, sometimes what I also do is put these session links onto the WhatsApp group so that after the session, they are clearly available to you for you to be able to watch or revisit them. So all sessions are recorded, all sessions are accessible, and some of them are accessible through Moodle, some of them accessible through the YouTube channel. Now, here is where all the work has been organized that has been shared with you for the purposes of discussion that we've done for this particular unit. Like yesterday, we discussed CLOPS cycle. So I put second last item from the bottom. I put a handout on CLOPS cycle so that you can actually read what is CLOPS cycle and understand the 4 basic learning styles which David Klopp discovered and how they are used in today's context. So a bit of a reading apart from the slides that we discussed, and the new version of the presentation was uploaded here. So I've inserted a few slides into this because learning outcome 4, 5, and 6 were together. But what I did was for learning outcome 6, I added a few slides. This was the only slide there, but I added bits and pieces of the CLOPS learning cycle. Then I added the GIVES reflective cycle as well, and a bit of a write-up on that, and the 6 stages involved, and then the formats which are shared with you with regards to completing tasks 6.1 and 6.2. So all the resources, in short, what I don't want to do is go through this again. All the resources, in short, are available upon Moodle. They're nicely labeled around each learning outcome. So when you see learning outcome 1, there's a template on PDP, there's a template on SMART objectives, there's a template on SWOT analysis, and then you have learning outcome 2, which was basically note-taking. There's a template on that. Then learning outcome 3, which is a research proposal template, which I showed you. Learning outcome 4 and 5, you have to create the project and obviously, finalize this report to a professional standard. And then learning outcome 6, we have task 6.1 and 6.2, which is what we need to be able to complete. That means review, monitor and review your personal development plan. And that has to be completed as a Word document. So all the material is available upon Moodle, and you should be able to access this material. Along with that, what I've also done is some of the handouts or basically Word templates I've also sent across to you on the WhatsApp group. Is that okay? Is that clear? So far, so good. Have you understood what I've explained here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Now, you can always give me some feedback by thumbs up or, by typing in the chat window, because that is definitely helpful. And it helps me understand that whatever I'm explaining is, making sense. Thank you for that. Now, what I will do now is, after showing you Moodle and this, what we want to do is look at individual documents that we are going to be covering for the purposes of, doing the completing this particular assignment. And I'm going to show you exactly how we will go about doing it. So what I've done at my end is, I've got all these documents here at my end, but because I've got a very big screen, so what will happen is if I open all of these together, it will become very small for you to look at. So what I'm going to do is show you individual templates. And what we are going to do is basically then towards the end of the session, go through the presentation, which is for assignment discussion session. And, let's say confirm that whatever I've explained has been understood in terms of how the assignment has to be done. Now, quickly showing you some of the documents. This was the first document, which is for task 1.1. So if I minimize this, I don't need that now. If you look at task 1 here, it says we need to be able to reflect on our academic skills and our English language skills. So for this particular task 1 has 2 bullet points, A and B. And within bullet point A, you also have 2 further bullet points to say you have to access your academic skills and your English language skills. Now, and for merit activity, there is a plan that we need to develop to explain how we will go about completing some of the targets that we are setting. Now, all this would cover, if we attempt all this, it will help us cover learning outcome 1.1, in learning outcome 1, task 1.1, 1.2, and 1M1. Now, what we need to be able to do in order to complete this fully, there are 3 templates that we need to use and we need to essentially complete. So one of them is doing our SWOT analysis, because the first thing it says is we need to discuss our strengths and weaknesses. So what we need to do is complete this particular template for SWOT analysis, and this will be task 1.1. So if I put this, you need to do an assessment on these. And what I'm going to do is that the templates that I provided, this is exactly how I will go about, completing my, assignment. So if I start by writing the heading of the assignment here on the top, and in the footer or the header section, if I type my name, so that I know that this is my assignment that I'm going to submit. And then what I will do is copy the task from the assignment brief, and these are the 2 bits that I need to complete to achieve 1.1. So the first thing that I want to do is look at doing my SWOT analysis, which I've done. And then along with the SWOT analysis, what I wanted to do was, so what I had given in the template was an example of a filled template here. If I just to undo this slightly, this was a filled template just for you to understand. But at the bottom of it, in the second page, I'd also given you a template, which is a blank one, which is where you need to use and actually do the assignment. So if I copy this from here and I put it in this page, this helps me complete my first task. Okay. And then if I copy this here and I put this here, so I need to look at filling them in according to what I feel are my skills, hard skills and soft skills. And once I fill them up, this would help me complete task 1.1. Now in task 1.1, if you recall, we had also been asked to complete an English language test, which is to be done on the British Council website using the English Score app. So I don't know how many of you have done this test, but once you do this particular test, this test would be giving you a score of your English proficiency. And this is the test which I had asked you to do. If I show you just the screen, this is the test which I'd asked you to do. And in this particular test, you have to create an account. When you create an account or you download an app, when you create an account, it will then ask you to start a test. It's a camera-based test. And once this test is complete, it will basically give you a score. How does this score look like? So what I want to do is show you a report of how you can download this report. And once you complete this test, it will ask you to download a report. You can take a screenshot. And if you want to download a report, this is how it will provide you a certificate. But this certificate is paid for. That means you would need to pay £19.99. That means £20. And this certificate is going to be valid for a period of 2 years. It is issued by the British Council. And as you will see, this is an exam which requires you to use your camera. And if you look away from the camera, or if you basically do not look into the camera, the test actually stops. Now, this test cannot be done by somebody else, because it is requiring you to do it. And there's a unique code for this test. If I have to verify this test score, what I can do is basically verify this test score by going on to this particular site. And I will show you how I can verify this particular test score as well, which basically is a very good source. If I want to use this and provide this as a certification or add it to my CV, then what I can do is basically download this certificate by paying that £20 fees. And this will be something that you have for life, which will be something useful, which you can add on your CV to say, I've got very good English proficiency skills, and my score is B2, which is upper intermediate, and my test score results are 482. Now, because I showed you a sample, so I can go onto the website, I can put the code in. If I put the code in 5474AF8D and I submit, what it will do is show me the results, whether the certificate is original or not. So this is coming from the British Council's IELTS server. And as you can see, this is the actual original test, which shows that you have B2 level proficiency. And this, if you do, would help you to achieve, this particular task 1.1. Is that clear? Is that okay? Is that clear? Now, for those of you who do not, say, for example, want to pay for this and get this PDF certificate, you can order a PDF certificate, which is going to cost £20. You can order a hard copy of this certificate from British Council, and I think it's £49. But if you don't want to spend any money, then what I would suggest is you take a screenshot of your result or your score when you complete the test towards the end. Now, this is an app that you can download on your phone, Android or iPhone. You can also do this test on a tablet, on the PC, but you need to have a camera and a working microphone to be able to do the test. And I'll show you an example of how sometimes if you do not want to, for example, let's say download and take the test and pay for it, you could also look at taking a screenshot of it, and that screenshot would allow you to essentially cut and paste that into your your Word document as an example that I've taken this test and this is what the proficiency is for my English language. Let me show you this for a second. I will show you a screenshot so that you're able to clearly see how this looks like. And that is what will help us complete, the task 1.1. So just give me 1 second. I want to try and pull out one screenshot. So the reason I'm wanting to be very particular on this is because if you see this particular test, if you do, would essentially help you assess your English language, proficiency. And it will leave no doubt that this is something that you have completed or you have done, and that allows you to basically attach this as a proof that you have completed this particular test and done and checked your English proficiency. So here we go. So I've got this here. Let me just download this. Download. Great. And what I want to do is show you this particular screenshot as well of how this will look like, assuming you do it on the phone. So let me just show you this particularly. So assuming when you had done the test and you had taken a screenshot of your mobile phone screen, as you would see, it will show you your latest, your score. And obviously then it has further tests that it asks you to do, which you don't need to. But essentially, this is the screenshot that we are interested in getting hold of, which will help you complete your English proficiency skill. So how would I go about putting this into the assignment? If I go back now to the Word document that we were looking at and discussing. Here we go. Let me just have a quick nosy in. Close. And here we go. So this particular document that we've got, so what I've done is I've inserted this screenshot, but what I will also do is write a bit of, wording on it to say this is what it is, because obviously just putting the screenshot will not explain why I put this here. So it says your academic English language skills. And what I'm going to do is I have tested my English language skills by taking English test on the British Council website. And what you could do is you could put, a link to the British Council website here, which will show that this is the site that you have used to primarily take the test. And the results of the test are attached below as a screenshot. Now, when you take the screenshot, obviously it just gives you a final score, but on your phone or on the PC that you do the test, this will also allow you to see a breakdown of what your speaking score was, what your listening score was, and what your reading and writing score was. So you can mention your scores here, and that would be good enough in terms of I would say completing task 1.1. Okay, so we will continue on this document, and for now this is completing task 1.1. Now if I quickly go back and look at the assignment brief again. So the assignment brief tells us to start the process by looking at strengths and weaknesses, which we have done. Your academic writing and paraphrasing skills is what we need to focus on. So I don't want to look at your strengths that I'm passionate, looking, and I'm a team player. We don't want your strengths and weaknesses on your professional skills. What we want to find out when we do a SWOT analysis is your SWOT analysis related to your research skills, your note-taking and note-making skills, your paraphrasing and summarizing skills. This is where you have to do your SWOT analysis on. And towards the end, you can also mention your hard and soft skills. And these hard and soft skills typically should be a combination of your academic skills that we talk about, things like writing, presenting, referencing, research, which are considered as core skills. And for English academic test, we have done the test from the British Council website. This completes part A of task 1. Now part B talks about using the information that you've now done your SWOT analysis. That means you know your weaknesses and what are your areas of improvement. What you need to then do is develop what is called a SMART target sheet, which will help you put some activities on which will be required to be completed to help complete or overcome those weaknesses. So for example, I don't know how at referencing, or my academic writing skills are weak. That means I cannot reference work while writing. Then in those cases, what I would do is basically put those down as activities, and those activities that I put down would be put down as what are called SMART targets. Now, if I switch you over to a SMART target template, if you recall, when we had basically done the coverage of learning outcome 1, I had shared this particular template with you. And this particular template, as you can see, is a template which basically looks at giving you a summary of what is SMART. So SMART is an acronym which stands for, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound objectives. So when we look at putting targets on, we need to look at putting these targets as SMART objectives. And when we look at these SMART objectives, what we want to be able to do is fill a template up basis our weaknesses that we have discovered using SWOT, and then complete this template to complete task 1.2. So what I had given earlier was a template wherein this is a filled template, as you can see, just to give you with an example. And then pages 2 and 3 and 4 are empty, which will allow you to put a specific objective and then fill these up, and that would complete your task 1.2. Is that okay? Now, if I go ahead and obviously do this, say, for example, what I would do is primarily copy this, and I'm going to put this into the first document that I've got, in which actually I am completing my, or, starting to do my assignment. So here is where I would go ahead and, copy and put everything on, and that would start to become my assignment. So this template, if you complete, and then if I show you a document, so if I show you a particular document, this one I'm going to close. This one also I'm going to close. And then what I would do is basically go on and look at this particular document. So what I did was, once I've completed my 1.1, I put my output here, and I've copied, my output for 1.1 part P, and then my SMART objective as task 1.2. Okay, now this is looking like my assignment that I will be looking at essentially submitting. Now, this helps us complete 1.1 and 1.2. Now, if I have to go to the merit activity, if I show you the assignment brief again, in the merit activity, it is saying I need to develop a plan to achieve my target. Now, I know I've done my strengths and weaknesses. I've notified my weaknesses. I've done my English assessment. And now what I want to do is put some activities in to understand these activities. If I complete, it'll help me develop my academic skills, my writing skills, improve my writing skills, improve my referencing skills. It'll help me do or build research skills. And then I would be able to effectively take notes. And what I would then do in this case is look at what is called a PDP template, which is personal development plan template. Now, this personal plan development template is what I'd actually shared with you initially when we had done the first learning outcome. So if I open this template up and just show you this particular template. So this particular template is this one which I sent across for the purposes of, obviously looking at developing a plan. And this gave you a bit of a background. What is PDP? Because it is asking you to develop a plan which shows how will you achieve your targets. So my target is to improve my referencing skill, improve my academic writing, develop skills on note taking, and also develop skills on researching. So it gives you a bit of a guidance, what you need to do, how you would prepare this plan. And this is a template that I need to use or fill to basically fill them with activities. So what I need to do here is use this template to fill my weaknesses, and weaknesses would have activities that I would do in order to basically improve on that weakness. You'll put some target date, and then this would allow you to complete this particular part, which is to look at developing a plan for personal development. Now, what I would do is, if I'm in your shoes, I'm going to basically complete this as a template on its own, and then I can complete. Once I've completed this, I am going to put this into my original document, which I'm making as an assignment, and that would help me 1M1. I'll show you that in a second. So this template is what you need to complete. And then what I've done is I've copied that template and I put that into my own document. And this has become 1M1, as you can see. So completing this template helps me complete my side of the task. And once I've completed my side of the task, this also helps me complete and achieve 1M1. So this is how I would go about completing. If I look at going back to the assignment brief, this is how it will help me to complete this task 1, which has been given in full as an assignment. Is that clear? Is that clear, everyone? Any questions on this so far?
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Now, what I would also do at my end would be to start task 2. I have shared another template, which was shared with everyone. And that template, essentially, when it was shared, was basically a note making and a note taking template. So there were 3 activities in that template. If I share that with you now, this is a template that is up on Moodle. So this particular template, as you can see, has task 2 written on it. And what the task 2 in the assignment brief says is that note taking is a key skill for any study. You need to, for any course of learning and for many aspects of your working life, you need to demonstrate that you have mastered this skill by showing that you can take note key points from information heard and from reading material, as well as skills of paraphrasing and summarizing. Look through some of the notes from your learning to date. Provide examples of where you have point 1. Noted skills of information from variety of sources, which is the first bullet point in the task of the assignment. Variety of sources using different strategies for reading. You must identify the source and different strategies used. So what I've given here is a graph that you see, which basically shows, some sort of a statistics, which is related from, transport and restauranting cost. Basically, it's a chart from the Office of National Statistics, and it shows how the inflation is affecting costs in terms of transportation and cost in terms of, prices when you go and eat out in restaurants. Now, this is the first, because it says variety of sources with an S. So it's a plural. That means I need to take number of sources. So one of the sources that I've taken is a graph. The second source I've taken is a table. And the third source I've taken is a flow chart. So what you have to do is, using this template, and I have provided a link to the website from which this graph has been taken. This is the link to the website, as you can see. So and in particular, slide 28. So what you have to do is click on this link, go to the website, look at reading slide 28, and then understand what this information is being depicted on by the usage of graph, or visually using the graph, what information has been depicted. So the task says you need to summarize and paraphrase the information by reading from different sources. So if I click on this link now and take you to the browser to show you what it is. So this is the presentation from which I have actually taken the data, but this is a big presentation of 52 slides. You need to scroll down to slide 28 from where I've taken actually the graph. So this is slide 28. So what it is showing is explained in this slide. What you have to then do is read this paragraph, this bit of the paragraph that you're seeing in slide 29. You have to read this paragraph, and then what you need to do is paraphrase this information and write it in your own words. And this would help you do the explanation of one of the sources, which is the graph, and complete part of the task, for the assignment. Is that okay? So this link is given on the Word document, which is the template that you see. And what you need to do is click on it, go to slide 28, and then essentially, go about, explaining this. Now, similarly for source 2, there is a, link I've given. You click on this link, go to the website, and what you would then need to do is basically when you're on the website, you would basically see this table, and what you have to do is read it and summarize this in your own words. So what we have done is we have read through a presentation because it says variety of sources. The first source that you see, which is the graph, is actually a PowerPoint presentation. So that is the first source. The second source is a table, but the table is coming from a website. So this helps us, go into and basically look at the various sources with regards to meeting this criteria of task 2, and they cover assessment criteria 3.1 and 3.2. Similarly, you have this flowchart, and this flowchart is basically a flowchart which talks about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, and this impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the mental health of the individuals is actually used here as a flowchart to discuss, the various aspects of it. And that is what you need to look at from a point of view of explaining in terms of, in terms of the flowchart. And this would basically be from a report, from a published report. And this report essentially would then allow you to, help paraphrase, summarize information from different sources. And this would complete your assessment criteria 3.1 and 3.2. So let me go back to the assignment brief. As you see, we have noted key points of information from various sources by active listening. You could also do something. You could also listen into a video, a YouTube video. So this is a good point, and I should have mentioned what I would do is, because it's variety of sources, so we've used website, presentation, and because it's saying listen to the information, listening skills. So you can't obviously listen from a website or from a presentation, but if you listen to a YouTube video, what you would have done is you would have used notes and presentation here, and you would have used a YouTube video here, and then paraphrase and summarize the information. This would meet task 3.1 and 3.2. So if I go and show you a YouTube video, and this is how I would go about doing it. So if I go to YouTube, and if I go to YouTube, what I want to do is basically go into, let's say, a video of the impact of COVID-19 on mental health. Maybe just look at a small video that I can shortlist, which is not too long enough. So this video, for example, is 2 minutes and 28 seconds, which is good enough. So if I click on this video, what I would do is basically take a screenshot of this particular video, which is required because I'm going to show this as a proof that this is what I have used, as a source to be able to, listen in and then basically paraphrase the information given to complete this particular task. So what I did was I took a screenshot, I noted, the URL of the video. And what I would do here is go into my Word document again. And as you see, what I've done is I've put a YouTube video, it's screenshot, And here is where the transcript of the video is to be paraphrased and summarized in your own words. So this would help, achieve task 3.1 and 3.2. Is that okay? Now, there is a way that we can summarize this particular, task, by listening into the video. And some of us can also look at, maybe going into using a software which primarily allows us to summarize, videos by listening into them. And that can also be done by using a particular software, and that should allow you to, maybe summarize the video part of it as well. So there are various ways of doing it, but the idea is you have to look at maybe, using, let's say, an option wherein, I will put it this way, look at essentially shortlisting a short video,
SEO smarter.
A short video which could be 1 minute or less, or 1 or 2 minutes, and that would then allow you essentially to, looking at basically understanding what the video is saying, and then in a paragraph or so summarize what the video is actually commenting on. So this bit, if I copy now and go back to my Word document in terms of where I was doing the assignment, I would then be able to complete my task 2, and this would essentially be, the note-taking and paraphrasing part of it. So if I just go back to my document now, as you can see, what I've done is I've cut and pasted this here, and this is the space I've left on purpose where I'm going to summarize what you're actually reading from there. And this is the place where you summarize this, and that allows me to complete my task 3.1 and 3.2. So AC 3.1 and 3.2. Is that okay? Is that clear? Yeah. Any doubts, any questions on this so far? Okay, good stuff. So now what we will do is basically go to the next task of the assignment. And the next task of the assignment that we are looking at covering is task 3. Now in task 3, if you recall, I have shared one particular template with you for research proposal. And then towards the end of the research proposal template, what I have also then done for you is primarily given you a clear idea in terms of how you would go about, downloading a project. And then from that project, you're summarizing some part of the information using that template to fill it up, and that would produce a formal professional standard report. So if I look at a couple of things with regards to, the way I'm looking at doing this is first to show you the template that I'd mentioned. So let's look at the template, which is the task 3. So this is a template which I've shown, and this template covers learning outcome 4 and learning outcome, 5 here. Now, this template is what you need to fill, because this will allow us to go in and obviously complete task 3 with most of the assessment criteria which are given, for the purposes of, meeting the, requirements. So first part talks about is in the task. As a part of your course, you will need to research information about both primary and secondary methods, and then write up and or present your findings. For example, in your assignment on health and social care sector, you need to research the structure of the sector and current legislation. This is an example given. You could also use other examples of academic research that you have carried out, write up what you did to complete the academic research, and make sure that you include your research plan. So this proposal is completing your research plan, which is task 2.1. Then it says outline the process you have used for carrying out your research from different sources of primary and secondary information. So here, when we go into the details of, looking at the research methodology in terms of how you would look at completing or collecting your data or looking at the sources, when you mention this here, you're meeting criteria 2.2, which is essentially talking about, if I write this here 2.2, and if I write about a plan, which is your research plan, and that is 2.1. Now, the third part says list all the sources you have used, which is basically creating a list of your bibliography. And for list of sources here, what we are doing is we are writing 4.1, which is the criteria that you are fulfilling. Then it says your final draft produced to a professional standard. And this final draft that you're going to produce to a final standard is going to be your task AC 5.1. So this task that you're producing in terms of writing a mini research report covering these topics like introduction, aim, objectives, rationale, literature review, research methodology, they will all come from here, which you are filling up. So this is the aim of your project, your aims and objectives, the purpose of your research, your focus, your key area of interest, then your literature review, your research methodology, your conclusions and findings that you've drawn up. And then towards the end, you mention your bibliography and your references and ethical considerations. They will all come from the above page 1 to 4. And this would help you achieve your, task 3. So this bit, you have to look at shortlisting an area, and the shortlisting of that area in terms of the research can be done with the 2 websites which I've explained. And this would help you essentially complete task 3. Now, there are some assessment criteria in task 3. If I go back to the assignment brief, these assessment criteria on task 3 essentially are merit and distinction criteria. So here, first part is take feedback from the draft work that you produced. So in this case, what I would suggest is that you would need to submit your research proposal back to me. I will give you some feedback on the proposal and ask you to make some changes. If I feel that there are some changes to be done, then this would complete this part, which is the first part of the extension activity, which is 5M1. Then we look at include evidence that has improved your work. So how would you then show that you have made changes to your research proposal or your research report basis the feedback from me? Those changes that you make, which I suggest, and you either add data or change the existing data, would then complete this part, and which is 5M1. Then it says you have to present your academic work orally to a professional standard. So what we're going to do in this case will be to do a Zoom session or a meeting wherein you're going to be presenting your research project, and that would be presented to us, and I will be observing, and I will make an observation record sheet. That observation record sheet which I make, and when you make a research presentation, what you will do is research project presentation. You're going to convert your research project into 4 or 5 slides of PowerPoint. And this is to achieve distinction. So what will happen in this case is your research project that you're doing, and what you do is in some cases, you would need to convert this into a presentation. And once you convert this into a small presentation of 5 to 6 slides, at that stage, what will happen is you are going to present this to us, and that will be done through the Zoom meeting. And once that presentation is done, that would allow you to achieve distinction. Is that okay? Any doubts or any questions on this so far? Any doubts, any questions on this so far? Okay, so, okay, great. Now, what I also want to do is, let me see if I can show you one small research presentation or research project presentation. And this could be a few slides that you normally create, and they would be generally related to what you are actually what you have actually written. So you're just copying and pasting that into a PowerPoint presentation for the purposes of presenting it. You could do that with your Word document. That would be absolutely fine. But that session wherein you're giving a presentation, we are going to record it, and that recording essentially would be recorded for the purposes of evidence. And I will show you one such example of how a student has actually gone ahead and recorded that part. It's important for you to see and learn this is a soft skill at level 3. So let me just quickly show that to you. So this is a small presentation which one of the learners has done, and he has actually presented a few slides by recording it, and we have done the recording. So as you can see, he starts off.
Let's begin. Samsung transformation to leaner and meaner, presented by Pratap Singh Rana. Let's go with the premises of the presentation, which begins with factors influencing change, then move towards its application and analysis of the change model, then finds the role of leadership in the change, and then end with the implication of the change. The driving forces. Samsung has the imperative to elevate profitability and broaden its market presence. It also had the ambition to generate value for customers and stakeholders.
So this is a 16-minute presentation which the learner has done. I'm not going to play it in full, but just to give you an idea, this is something that you can also do in PowerPoint when you present, and this is something which can be easily done by just switching on recording on your PowerPoint version. I will show you that briefly just as a skill so that you are able to understand how this can be done. Now, assuming if this was the presentation I was presenting, I could click on the recording button on the top, and what I would do is record the slideshow. And in the slideshow, when I record, I can also switch on my voice, and that would record the audio as well. So if I just click the record button right now, and then what I would need to do at this stage, as you can see, it is showing me my image here. And what I would do is press record, and that would start the recording on the presentation. So here I'm going to be presenting, the academic and research skills for health and social care. And this particular presentation would cover learning outcome 4, 5, and 6, as you can see. And I'm going to be looking at using a deck of slides to be able to present this. And as you see my video, I have the option to switch off the video, but my video can also be switched on, and I can do this recording and then share this recording to me via a Zoom link, or say, for example, a OneDrive or a Dropbox link. And that would basically record what I presented as a proof, and that would allow me to help achieve distinction for this particular unit. Is that okay? Is that understood how it can be done? Right? Okay. Now, going to the next task of the assignment, what I would want to do is, look at the last task, which is task 4. So here, distinction criteria was to, look at making an oral presentation, and then obviously doing some more analysis on your research project, and that would be something which you'll cover in the presentation. Now, the last task of the assignment is task 4. And task 4 of the assignment, if you recall, what we need to be able to do is reflect on the progress that we've made on the initial personal development plan that we have made. And in that personal development plan, using SMART targets, we had put some targets or activities which we are going to undertake to be able to achieve that skill. Now, in this case, this review and monitoring of the personal development plan, which was made in task 1, needs to be reviewed and updated in task 4. And this covers criteria 6.1 and 6.2. Now, if you recall yesterday when we did our discussion, if I show you the template, this is the template that I have provided to you, wherein what we are looking at in this template is reflecting on our progress of the activities that we have undertaken. And these, activities that we have undertaken we need to list down here and see whether we've been able to achieve these activities or not. So initially we had put some timelines, and then what we've done is we have seen that, okay, I've not literally mastered the skill of, obviously achieving referencing to the standard I want, and I need to do a bit more training and a bit more practice. And that is why what I have done in this case is primarily looked at further extending or developing my plan. And this further developing and extending of my plan essentially has allowed me to complete, task 6.2. So basically what we have to do here is, first, we have to review the plan that we made in task 1M1 essentially, which was to say that these are the activities that I will undertake. These are the goals I have. This is the main reason why I'm doing this. And in these activity, in order to achieve these goals or targets, I'm going to take on these activities. Now I will try and complete these activities in this time frame, and then I will review to see whether I've achieved enough knowledge or I've gained my referencing, gained a mastery on Harvard referencing, or whether I've been able to do academic writing to the standard I want to. Now, if you feel and find out after your review that you haven't been able to really achieve to the standard, then what you do is you develop the plan further. Further improvement has to be done. And that further improvement is task 6.2. And that further improvement would say, okay, I still need to develop my skills. I'm going to do these. These are my targets. These are the activities I will undertake. And this by this date, what I would do is go about reviewing this activity to see whether I've achieved it or not. And once you complete these two templates, they will then allow you to complete tasks 6.1 and 6.2. So if I have to then complete it separately as a unit and then go about, putting this into the main document of my assignment, what I would do is complete this task first and then copy and paste them into the Word document, thereby, I would say thereby completing, my assignment in total. So if I just put this here and then show you a document. So towards the end, what I'm going to do is look at just adding a bit of referencing, because what I need to do is add references at the end of the day of whatever work I've done. And these references, when it is compiled here, would allow me to complete my task and my assignment. Now, this is the way that I would suggest your assignment would essentially look like for this particular unit. So I'll put my name down here on the top. I have the name of the unit. And then what I'm doing is basically, if I want to further format and structure this assignment, what I'm going to do is primarily just look at, adding a few minor touches in terms of tasks. So for example, I do this here, sorry. So what I'm going to do is insert a page here and then basically create these as a table of reference so that it can then be professionally presented. So 1.1, and this is task A. So this is, sorry, this. This is task A, and this is task B. And this was task 1.2. Assuming I did 3 smart plans, this was task 1M1. And what I would do is just make it into one page, if that's okay. So decrease slightly bits and pieces if I can. What I'm going to do is reduce the font size slightly to try and see if we can all fit in one page. That's done. Now this was task 2. This was task 3. This is my task 4. Sorry, task, task basically, this was task 3, basically covering, my assessment criteria 2.1, 2.2, 4.1, 4.2, and 5.1. So, sorry, up to 4.2. And then this was 5.1. Okay. Now this part is basically my task 6. So what I would want to do is have this as 6.1 and this one as 6.2. So just shorten the font size a bit. And 6.2 here. And then towards the end, just my references, which I would need to put. And then what I will do is go on to the top page. And on this side here, I'm going to go to references and then draw up a table of content. And then insert page here. So it goes to the next page. So as you can see, this becomes my professionally formatted document as an assignment for this particular unit. This is a practical unit. All the templates are available. All you have to do is then go about filling these templates, and this would then end up getting the assignment to a shape that we would want primarily for the purposes of submission for this particular unit. Now, you can also put some references in, and the reason why we need to put references in is whichever places, whatever location, sites, websites, books we have used, so this is British Council, we've used the English test site, and what you can do is assessed on, so today is the 4th of July, 2023. This is the way that we will put Harvard referencing in for everything that we are referred or used in this document, which is coming from a different source. But what we need to be able to do is give credit and reference to it, because we are using third-party or different authors' work to include in our assignment, and we are obviously saying this is my own work. So in this case, what we need to be able to do is give credit and obviously reference to the sites from which the work is being used. So if you assess a particular website and obviously looked at it for the purposes of gleaning some data, then you would need to put this in, and this would basically become referencing for this particular assignment. So this is how you're going to submit your assignment. At the end of the day, this is a sampler, which I will put. And what I would do is insert page numbers in the footer, which means that, this is a sample assignment draft. For academic and research skills. Is that okay? Any questions on today's discussion? So this, helps us conclude what we wanted to discuss with regards to, the assignment discussion session for academic and research skills unit. And I hope this is, given you an insight into in terms of how you would go about actually submitting the assignment for this particular unit. Is that okay? Any questions? Any questions on this so far? Okay, so I've got 1 or 2. Okay, so okay, should we submit the assessment task in order it is listed on the Moodle? Well, I would say yes, but they should be in one document. You cannot submit 6 documents. because each of the templates has to be put into, at the end of the day, you fill these templates up, and then what you do is you combine them as a Word document and you send it as one single document to us. Now, what you need to do is, if you need to look at revisiting any of the previous sessions, I have suggested that you need to go to the YouTube channel and obviously revisit any of the sessions, straight away from there. And all the recordings are clearly available, in the YouTube channel under the live part of it. So if you go here, that's the link which I've sent, and you should be able to access all these sessions, from here. One quick last thing which I also want to just basically show, as I mentioned to you at the start, that once we complete, we want to look at an assignment discussion session. So some of the bits which I've explained to you in terms of how to format the document, like the font size 12, line spacing, drawing a table of content, writing references or bibliography is a must when you start, when you submit your final assignment to us. Then there are some useful tips in this case. Simply because when you look at the assignment in this case, what we are looking at is most of the work, we have provided you templates, and as long as you go ahead and fill those templates up, they should help you achieve the assignment. So in this particular assignment, we have key skills like SWOT, SMART, targets, and we have to develop what is called a PDP. The skills audit part of it is to understand what your skills are. And as you can see, what I've mentioned here is what I've explained, that how would you go about, submitting this particular assignment. So for each of the tasks given in the assignment brief, there are templates provided. And for a mini research project, you need to write this in this format, so that you have covered all the topics or broad headings to be able to meet the requirement of the report, which is required to be produced as a final draft, in learning outcome 5. In task 3 of the assignment brief and task 5.1 specifically. So these are bits which I've explained in the presentation, which are also available. This presentation is also available upon Moodle. And what you need to be able to do is, if you need to revisit any of this, you can go through the presentation and the recording of the session that we have done, and then submit the assignment within 2 weeks. So what I would suggest is, you should be in a position to actually submit this assignment, to us by, I would say, in 2 weeks' time. So that would essentially be 18th of July, 2023. And I would suggest that you keep to this timeline, and then the submission has to be done to this email address, wherein you receive an acknowledgement receipt. And that acknowledgement receipt would give you a clear acknowledgement to say that the work has been received, and it'll be marked in 3 to 5 working days. And once it is marked, obviously you will get your feedback with regards to what you have achieved as far as the grade is concerned. One of the key features that I would mention, that when you send something over, in terms of the assignment on the email, my suggestion is always mention what grade you are trying to achieve, because it is imperative to understand the grade that you are trying to achieve, simply because I don't want to be giving you feedback which will primarily be related to saying, okay, this is the case, or that is the case. My suggestion would be to, when you send an email to me, also mention what grade you are trying to achieve in the assignment. I'm only aiming for a pass, I'm only aiming for say, for example, a merit, or I'm aiming for a distinction. Then the feedback given to you would be given accordingly, so that you are able to then improve on your work, make the changes which are required, and that would also allow you to then achieve the grade that you're trying to achieve as far as the unit is concerned. So this particular document, which I am created as a bit of a sample for you to look at, I'm also going to make that available, but that would be available as a PDF. And this reason of making that available as a PDF is to ensure that obviously you know how to do the assignment, but it is to make sure that you're not copying and pasting the same assignment into what I've shown you as a bit of a draft, and you are actually creating something which is contextualized and meeting and, related to you rather than anyone else. So one of the simplest units to achieve with a good mark or good grade, but you have to keep in mind that when you do this particular assignment, you have to use the templates, and these templates would essentially allow you to, achieve the grade that you are trying to achieve as far as the unit is concerned. So with this, I would like to bring this session to an end. Thank you so much for attending, and I hope you found this useful. And this particular sample draft of the document, I'm going to drop it into the WhatsApp right now in a second, and hopefully we will get you the new schedule now for the next unit, which is going to be starting next week, same time, Monday, Tuesday, and we'll be looking at starting a new unit. But till then, what I would suggest is if you concentrate on, obviously completing your assignment and submitting that to us so that we can, move ahead or go forward to the next particular unit.